وهي بحرب اختي في واحد نزل وهي بحرب اختي في واحد نزل.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and infinite glory to our power, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai Bahashem, Wacha, Racha, Kudash. The honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, who rule well and teach well. Peace, Satan, sight, chestnut, the hopeful elect that's pushing his word, true and sturdy, throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you, brothers. And I want to do a lesson going into this headline. It says, Pakistan tells Iran they will nuke Israel if Netanyahu uses nuclear weapons against Tehran, which is a city, I believe, in Iran. But, hey, things starting to stir up, man. World War III is right around the corner, man. But before World War III goes full-blown, the mark of the beast, which is in fact the RFID microchip, has to be mandated. We got to fall in line according to prophecy, World War III will not go full-blown until the RFID microchip is mandated. It's made mandatory, But I want to give some scriptures. Let me read this headline. It says, Pakistan has threatened to drop a nuclear warhead on Israel if Netanyahu uses nuclear weapons against Iran, according to a top Iranian officer. General Mohsen Rezai, a senior officer in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, said in an interview, Pakistan has assured us that if Israel uses a nuclear bomb on Iran, they will attack Israel with a nuclear bomb. Pakistan and Israel are two of the 9 countries that currently possesses nuclear weapons, according to experts. Reza claimed that Pakistan has vowed to stand behind Iran and called on the Islamic world to unite against Israel. Now let's get some scriptures. Let's get the book of Slovakia. Let's get the book of Revelation, chapter 11, and verse 14. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14, and it reads, The second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The second woe was past, World War III, which was roughly about, 80 years ago? World War II, which was roughly about 80 years ago past. But now coming the third woe. And it's right around the corner too, man. But before it goes full blown, the RFID microchip has to be mandated. But World War III, it's right around the corner. And World War III is going to happen in this lifetime as we speak. World War III, it's going to happen this lifetime, but the RFID microchip has to be made mandatory before World War III goes full blown, Let's get another one. Let's get the book of the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 5. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 5, and it reads, For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So when it talks about for every battle of the warrior was confused noise and garments rolled in blood, so it's talking about men in the ancient world, our forefathers. They went to war with sticks, with hammers, with axes. They didn't have nuclear weapons back then, so they went to war, garments rolled in blood, so they wear garments, long garments down to the foot. That's the clothing our forefathers wore. And they went to war shouting, man, because that was a manly gesture back then. You shouting, showing you that you was a man of war, man, showing you that, your enemy, showing your enemies fear. But this is talking about, but this is going to be a changement of how wars are going to be fought. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. What is that talking about? What is fuel of fire synonymous with? And it's synonymous with nuclear missiles. You know? For example, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Those two bombs that dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Weapons of mass destruction, man. Those are nuclear weapons, man. In Iran, and what they're shooting out there are nuclear weapons, man. It's talking about the nuclear weapons, you know? And that's what's going to be used against Babylon the Great when America's destroyed. ICBM nuclear missiles. Matter of fact, let me just look up a picture. Yep, this is an example where it says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Them ICBM nuclear missiles, man. It's going to be used to destroy America, Babylon the Great. You know? This is going to be used to destroy America, Babylon the Great. And it's in the scriptures, man. Matter of fact, to prove that, let's get the book of Isaiah, chapter 50, and verse, I believe, verse 14, kind. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, and verse 9. And it reads, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her, and from thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be as if Slakia. Let me read it again. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. And where's Babylon located? In the north country, in the northern hemisphere. And they shall set themselves in array against her, and from thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty archer. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Their arrows, you know. And these an example of an arrow, because back then they didn't know anything about no nuclear missiles or the term nuclear missiles. So Jeremiah, he was seeing the missiles, describing it as an arrow, because this is described as an arrow. It looks like an arrow, I should say, Salakia. So back then, you know, they didn't have no knowledge of nuclear missiles, so they were describing it as an arrow. Which men in the ancient world, they used arrows back then in times of combat. Now let's go back to the scriptures. Verse 10, and Chaldea shall be spoiled, and all that spoiled her shall be satisfied, said the Lord Yahweh. Verse 11, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. That's right, man. You know, they destroyed our heritage, man. Took the heritage away from the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native West Indian Haitians, man, and Seminole Indians. Verse 12, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Verse 13, because of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth at Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. That's right. So Babylon the Great is going to be completely decimated, completely diminished. off the four corners of the earth. It's going to be destroyed. It's going to be a desert island. Not an island. It's like it's going to be a wasteland. It's going to be a wasteland, because of the wrath of the Lord, man. That's the judgment from Yahweh outside that's going to come upon Babylon the Great, because her sins have reached into heaven, especially what they did to our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. Verse 14, the point. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord Yahweh. That's right. So these nations, man, they're going to shoot their missiles upon Babylon the Great in this Third World War. In World War III, also known as the Third World War. The third woe in the scriptures in the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. That's what they're going to do. They're going to shoot their missiles against Babylon the Great and completely annihilate it and decimate the society. Verse 15, shout against her round about. She had given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her as she had done do unto her. That's right. Verse 16, cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest, for fear of the oppressing sword. They shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. So that's what's going to happen when the missiles are shot over here to destroy the society, man. Everyone's just going to be fleeing to their own countries, into their own places of origin, to their country of origin. And that's what's going to happen these last days, man. Let's get the book of Joel chapter 3. This is the book of Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And this is what Yahweh from outside proclaim among the Gentiles, man. And it's speaking about the actual Gentiles, the actual heathens, natural born heathens, also known as the Gawaims, and the Lashon Kodash, also known as the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So Yahweh is starting to wake up the mighty men. He's starting to wake up, these Iranians to what, Babylon the Great and Israel are doing to them. The Lord is going to put the spirit in these other nations, and these Iranians, these, Moabites, these Chinese, these Japanese, people of Turkey, North Korea, South Korea. They're going to wake up to the wickedness of Esau, Edom, of Babylon the Great, primarily Babylon the Great, man. And they're going to retaliate in this Third World War, man. They're going to retaliate. The Lord's going to wake up the mighty men, And it's going to happen soon, man. Look at those men out there in Korea, man. If you look up North Korean soldiers, those guys are straight up soldiers, man. They training like hell, man. And look up so-called, American soldiers here. They ain't doing what they doing over there in North Korea, man. The Lord's starting to wake up the mighty men, man. Verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. So the Lord is starting to gather all the heathen, Verse 12, let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Jehoshaphat, also known as Jehoshaphat, over in the so-called Middle East. For there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. And that's what's going to happen, man. The Lord's going to have World War III take place over there in the so-called Middle East. That's where he's going to judge all the heathen, man. And then they're going to try to fight against the Lord. They're ultimately all going to lose miserably. But those are the times we're coming into, man. This is the end of Esau's kingdom, the end of Esau's reign, man. These other nations, they're ready to go at it, man. They're ready to go to war with Esau, Edom. These are the day of vengeance, man. And these were the days. These are the days when all hell is gonna break loose, known as Jacob's trouble. A time like never before. Let's get that in the book of Matthew, man. Because Jacob's trouble might pop off way before this. It's book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 24 or 25. Or you count Matthew chapter 24, verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So there's going to be a time like never before, known as Jacob's trouble, man. And that's going to come to pass real soon, man. Yahweh Ratazah. But I hope and pray that this quick lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Wacha, Racha, Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and the elder bishops who rule well and teach well, peace, safety, and citation to the whole folk like this person is word, true and to at the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you, brothers. Shalom.